it's an interesting place to start. We talk about psychedelics, so we're making a movie about some experiences I had with ayahuasca last year, and when I had a really powerful ceremony, I mean, it just fucking dissolved me about 20, 25 times over and just showed how insignificant I was in the whole grand scheme of time and the universe. And, and that like I was worried about my own death and like in the jungle every day, all these bugs and animals. It's the cycle of life. And funny enough, back to this guy that up in Scotland that yells a lot, he says the same kind of thing. Like your life is so nothing. He says, in the cosmos of time, you're nothing but a fart in the wind, is what he says. So he said, why not take action and do something? That's what he uses it for. So
absolutely,
you're trying to get people to kind of just sober up, get some perspective, and say, okay, let's start somewhere fresh. Well, we can all agree we're here. We all have this same common experience, death. What are we going to do between now and then? It'll give us meaning.
Yes. Okay. Give our lives a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose.
Okay. And you go on to say that the opposite of happiness is not despair and pain, it's hopelessness.
Yes.
Which is interesting because I definitely had some nihilistic tendencies, probably still do, back in my day. And it's not a very nice place to be when you wake up in the morning and say, what's the fucking point of any of this?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons I really am grateful for what I do every day, because I don't feel like that. And that's the way I used to feel when I had the wrong values.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because it's really what your life is it is just an aggregate of your actions. What are you spending your time on each day? And if you're spending your time on things that ultimately have no permanent meaning in the face of the infinite, then it's like, why get up? Why do it? Well, might as well drink a bunch and do some drugs and whatever, cheat on my wife. Like you just, everything starts to become fair game because it's like, well, this is pointless. I think I've actually been surprised. So in the first chapter, I've got this thing I call the uncomfortable truth. And I make a joke about it. It's like something I'd write on a coffee cup, but it's just like incredibly bleak.
Should I read this? So the uncomfortable truth, I think I get this right, is one day you and everyone you love will die. And beyond a small group of people for an extremely brief period of time, little of what you say or do will ever matter. This is the uncomfortable truth of life.
Yep.
And you go on to say that everything we do is a distraction from this uncomfortable truth.
Yeah, everything you say or do is an avoidance of this inevitable truth. And I say something like, we are dancing specks on a tiny blue dot. We imagine our own importance. We invent our own meaning. We're nothing. Enjoy your coffee. And I've actually been shocked how many people actually highlight that section and put it on Instagram. Like I thought out of everything in the book, like that would, like I really wrote this book expecting to lose people. Which
is the only way to follow up a book like this.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's just alienate, sell 9 million copies and alienate them all. I've actually been surprised how many people have kind of like posted that section. And I really do think that and this kind of gets back to the earlier point about there just being too much stuff, too much stimulation, and we need to like learn how to like narrow and focus. I think, again, a product of that abundance is that it's easier than ever before to get lost or sidetracked in something that's not very meaningful or doesn't feel meaningful. And so I think that's why we see, in the book I talk about rises in the rates of depression, anxiety. People of younger and younger ages are experiencing depression, anxiety. Suicide rates are going up, especially for young people. I think a lot of it is just that it's either people are more easily sidetracked into kind of meaningless stuff, or there's just so much in front of them that they don't know how to decipher meaning from it.